sun is racing.
Welcome, race fans, to another episode of the Rubbin' is Racing Daily Fantasy NASCAR Show. This week we have all your action from Loudon, New Hampshire for the Overton's 301. And if you're asking yourself, what is Overton's like I was, I've got your first fun fact today. They are actually a marine, boat, dock, and supply company that's in the Northeast. So, hey, if you have any of those needs, like I'm sure you can contact overtons.com for all your marine boating needs. Anyways, kids, we're going to go 301 laps around this 1 mile track this weekend. This track stages are at 75, 150, and all the way to the finish.
Interesting fact is that we found out why Chip Got Nasty has been so much success in the 2017 season with the number 42. They were found to have improper rear brake cooling last week after post-race inspection. Huge fine, and they've lost their crew chief for 3 weeks. They go out today, qualify on the pole, then failed post-qualifying inspection due to another issue, and now are moving back to the rear of the field. How many other races this season have they gotten away with something?
I'm with you, man. That explains a lot. Anyways, kids, there's a slight chance of rain when we're scheduled to go racing at 3 p.m. Eastern on NBC Sports Network. And now, guys, we have a special guest for the Burnin' Rubber segment. Awesome job, Jackson.
Good job, buddy. That was awesome. You want to tell the folks who you think's going to win this week at New Hampshire?
Yeah.
Well, you tell them out here.
Yeah.
Tell them what number you like.
Yeah, what number do you think's going to win this week, Jackson?
4.
4? All right, you heard it from the Oracle himself, kids. 4 is going to win. Thanks for joining us, Jackson. Maybe you'll have to do another guest segment for us later, all right? Okay. Bye, buddy.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
And that was the cutest segment we have ever done. That was adorable. All right, Liehr, we've already heard the Oracle's pick to burn some rubber. Who do you have to burn some rubber this week, buddy?
For all of you out there, just to let you know, he is 4 years old, so that is a common number, just to let you know. But love the kid. I'm actually going to be rolling with somebody that's got a little bit of a chip, no pun intended, on their shoulder. I'm going to be picking Matt Kenseth as my burn rubber pick this week. With this being his one of his best tracks of his career with 3 career wins here. Only other track he's got a higher amount of wins is at Bristol, which he's got 4 wins, which is also a short track. The news came this week that broke that Eric Jones is going to be taking over the number 20 next season, and Matt's going to be looking for a new job and a new team to be driving for. So this is going to drive Matt to perform very well this weekend. As one, he's pissed off and obviously, irritated at the fact that he's going to be replaced by a much younger driver, probably somebody that's, really talented, obviously as much talent or if not more talent than he has. But, Kenseth's been in the game for a long, long time, and it's always hard to transition from an older driver to a really, really young driver. But, such is sports. I mean, eventually it's time to put the old horse out to the pasture and bring in the new young buck. So, but obviously he's going to be auditioning for other teams this weekend and for the rest of the season. So this is his weekend to start it off and get the rest of the season right. But on Sunday, he'll be starting from a very good position. He'll be starting from the third position due to he did qualify fourth, but due to the Larson issue going to the back of the field, he'll be third. But his cost this week is very, very doable at $9,300, which is eighth highest on the board. So, he is a back-to-back winner here in 2015 and 16, as he won the race here, obviously, last year, and then in the fall in 2015. But look for Kenseth to go out there and get aggressive this weekend and just be a gritty driver all day long and have his team put him in situations where he can be successful. And I just think it's going to be funny and how ironic it will be if Kenseth gets the first win of the season for JGR this weekend and no longer drive for him next year.
That would be awesome, dude. They're firing the guy and he gets their first win. That would just be great. Look, I love your narrative here, and I like the play, and I probably will have exposure to him. But I'm going to play devil's advocate for our viewers here for a minute because I think it's important. At $9,300, this is his highest price to date, if I'm not mistaken. I think he was priced the exact same, maybe $100 more for Bristol. Other than his recent track history at Loudon, there is absolutely no reason to play Kenseth. I mean, has he even been on a winning lineup at all this season, Liehr? Like, legit question. I don't think he has. And now, that may make his ownership go down for as good as he is at this track, and you may get him on an island, and that may be awesome. But I kind of want Joey Bag of Donuts, who's $500 cheaper at $8,800, if I'm wanting to spend in that range, or I'd rather spend up and go to one of my burning rubber picks and spend more money. One of which is Kyle Larson at $9,700. Okay, I wrote him in as the burning rubber pick before we found out that he cheated. But now that he cheated, he's the play for the same reason that we've gone over for, like, I believe this is the sixth time now this season.
Just like last weekend.
Oh, yeah, exactly like last weekend. Look, for a guy that claims that this is his worst track, he was flying around the track, I would say that would give me a moment of pause. I wouldn't be 100% on him this week, even though starting from the back of the pack you might want to be. The fact that he says it's his worst track and that we've got cars sliding all around the place might temper my ownership percentage a little bit. But guys, this car is fast, even if it's cheating. If it's not cheating, he's been dominant all year. And for fantasy purposes, the post-race inspection won't happen until well after all the money's been cashed into accounts. So I don't think you have anything to worry about there. I'm not worried about him not having his crew chief. Guys, starting 39th, you've got to play one of the best cars out there, and you're going to have to play him at a heavy chunk. It's just whether or not you're going to design fades around what could be possibly a wreck fest at Loudon this weekend. Liehr, your thoughts on Larson, and defend yourself a little on Kenseth if you want.
Well, we'll start with Kenseth, but obviously, Martin Truex Jr., guy, started third last year in this race and went out and led 123 laps, even though he finished 16th at that race, which, by the way, a year ago this weekend now I was in Colorado getting engaged. So I barely got to watch any of the race. But yeah, I know you guys did the show last year, but Martin Truex was definitely somebody that you had to have on your lineups, even though he finished with that negative of place differential. He led way too many laps and had too many fastest laps. So, with Truex starting on the pole, I think he's definitely a play. And then you've got, 7-time champion Jimmy Johnson starting from the second spot. Like, where is this coming from? Jimmy never qualifies this high. I don't know what happened there, but I mean, you got to look at him too. But for me, it's one of those where Kenseth's going to start in the top three. You've got the history of this track is you at least have to have two starters from the top 10, if not the top 5, because most times if you start up front, you stay up front just because it is a hard place to pass. And like you already talked about with the repave and everything, I think we're going to have, a decent amount of wrecks. And so, process by elimination. But when you look through the top 10, you got Truex, Johnson, Kenseth, McMurray, who is a preview coming up here in the show later, Casey Kane, who also fighting for a job, but I don't believe in him at this track. Then you got Eric Jones, who's got a little fire underneath him too, with with the news coming out this week. Then you got, Rowdy and then Hamlin and Kurt Busch and Keselowski. So it's kind of like, out of all those guys, the one guy that I really truly believe in is Kenseth and Truex, just because those two guys have shown the history here of being very, very successful. And, like I said, I just give a little bit more edge to Kenseth just because he's got that chip on his shoulder and he's got something to prove, and to give the big, hey, you guys made a mistake by, firing me from the 20. So that's why I'm sticking on him. But as far as Larson, dude, there's not really much to add to that play. I mean, the guy it's a no-brainer. Starting last, they've been the best car all year, regardless if that's been within the specifications that NASCAR presents to them or not, or if they've been getting away with stuff or not. As far as from a fantasy perspective, it doesn't matter because everybody last week got paid out where he finished. And even though he got the fine after the race completed, it never affected fantasy. So it's going to be the same thing this week. Plug and play him, free square. It kind of irritates me, though, because now it takes one of the huge salary guys, puts him at the rear of the field, and makes him a play in everybody's lineup. So it makes the differential between lineups definitely decrease, which is a little irritating.
Yeah, I'm actually glad you mentioned Truex. Like, I was going to give a little bit of bonus burning rubber here. And before I do, the reason why I think it's important to talk about Truex is because the tradition of Loudon is that two drivers basically lead 100-plus laps, and then a third driver wins the race, like almost always on short pitting or a pit strategy, just getting people shuffled up. So you really want two dominators. Now, that was the reason why I was going Larson and Truex when Larson was up front. But now we have a situation where Larson's in the back that you basically have to play him. You want a dominator like Truex, and then basically you go through that list that Liehr gave you, and I would expand it even all the way back to 12th, where we have the Oracle's choice, Harvick in the number 4 car. He has great stats here. You're going to have tradition if the race plays out as it traditionally does. You're going to want one of those guys, and the one I think that you just have to lock in now because of Larson starting at the back is Truex at 10,300. I mean, in the last 2 races here, he led 123 and 144, and now he's sitting on the pole, and he and Larson were so much faster than every other car on the track. With Larson having to fight through the pack to get there, I'm just not worried that he's not going to lead at least almost the entire first segment. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the number 78 team and Truex and Cole Pern and all those guys, they have just had an unbelievable, phenomenal season so far. They've gone out with this new, segmentations that they've got this year. The new points, for the it's not the chase anymore, but the playoffs. Just showing you how much dominant that car has been, and they were that dominant last year. They just didn't get the points because of the way the system and everything was set up. That it just didn't benefit them because, dude, they led a ton of laps last year. They just didn't have it the way that the point system was set up. But this year with the segments and winning all those segments and, being the 2-time winner with winning all the segments in a race this season, I mean, they have just gone out and just blown the doors off of everybody. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But, yeah, I mean, you definitely have to start your lineups, Truex, Larson, and then go from there.
All right, and so your third pick in most of your lineups, and so if you're starting there, your next pick is Kenseth, or are you doing an either or of Kenseth or Truex?
Definitely a good question. I mean, I will have one lineup, sure, when it's like Larson, Truex, Kenseth, and then, throw in, whoever behind that, because I definitely, like I said, I believe that Kenseth is just going to bring a big, sign out there that says starts with the letter F and ends with the letter U. It's gonna, just go out there and, show JGR, hey, you guys are making a mistake, and I'm the first one to win this year. So have a nice day.
Right. Try to get him a ride somewhere else.
Yeah, because here's the other thing is this guy is auditioning for all the other teams next season, and there's going to be so much jostling and so many different things happen over this offseason. It's going to be crazy between drivers changing teams and sponsors changing teams. Who's going to go here? Who's going to go there? We got Stewart-Haas Racing. Kenseth, Jones, is Furniture Row going to keep the number 77? Or are they going to go somewhere else? What's Brad Keselowski going to do? Is there going to be another manufacturer next year? There's just so many different questions and ways to go that there's going to be some opportunities. And Kenseth needs to prove he still has the flex volt to make it happen.
Wow, dude, that was an awesome breakdown there. Like, I'm glad I asked that question. So to do the value, we're going to mix it up a little bit since Liehr just got done breaking down the Kenseth play and along with the value and Truex play. And I'm going to give you my first value play is that of Trevor Bayne this week at 6,900. He qualified 27th, and as Bayne has been saying on Twitter, they have a lot to do this weekend to get this car right. I mean, he was not comfortable with this car at all. It really had no grip, no ability to turn in the front end. But I think that Roush will get this done and get this car tuned in and running right. The preface of this argument is you're going to need to watch practice 2 and practice 3. Roush Fenway Racing runs well at Loudon historically, especially Stenhouse's crew chief. That used to be Biffle's car. That used to be Biffle's crew chief. Now he's with Stenhouse. Looked for Stenhouse to do some good things, but they're going to pass all those notes to Trevor Bayne. And starting 27th, I have zero issues worrying that he's going to move up in the pack. As long as he improves in the practices, I'm all over the Bayne train. Guys, just in case he doesn't improve in the practices or in case these other guys improve, I'm also keeping my eyes on the RCR cars, the Richard Childress Racing cars, as they all qualified 24th or worse. They're also going to be place differential plays. However, as Liehr talked about, money gets tight with now that we have to play Larson and you're going to want to play 2 Dominators. It's going to get really tight. Liehr, your thoughts on Bayne?
Yeah, man, I definitely love what Bayne's doing, especially with being a new father, and he's really enjoying the the circuit again, and you can tell he's having fun with it. And with the success that Roush Fenway's had this year, they've come back really strong with some really good finishes this year, and obviously majority of that coming from the number 17, and what you just talked about there with them having Biffle's old crew chief this weekend, but. I'm one of those where what you just talked about when we were talking about the salaries of the Dominators, Larson, you got to have 2 Dominators. I mean, you're going to have to start picking kind of some low-hanging fruit there. And Trevor Bayne at 6,900, 27th place, that's definitely, good place for place differential for a guy on that type of team. I like my value play better, which I'll go over here in just a little bit, but like you talked about, all the RCR guys, Ryan Newman at 7,300, which is $400 more. Austin Dillon, who's also right there at 7,000. And then you got AJ Allmendinger at 24th. And then Ty Dillon, which is the, other RCR affiliate at 6,700. And then even, Eric Amarola, he's coming back from being out from the injury from, seems like forever and ever ago at Kansas. But, even them, he's starting 21st, but he does have some good history here at Loudon. So, there is some value there, but yeah, I definitely like the place differential. And then also, Paul Menard too. He's starting ladder at 29th, and it is right there underneath Trevor Bayne as well as far as salary. So yeah, there's definitely some good options, man, when it comes to value plays this week. But yeah, I'll definitely have some exposure to Trevor Bayne because I think, they're going to want to come out this weekend. He's got the Ford Performance Plus motor oil up on the machine this weekend, so usually he does pretty good when they're on there. So I think that with his history here and being a daddy and getting that out of the way, and I think he's definitely concentrating just on racing, and I think he'll go out, especially after having a 27th qualifying position, and go out and at least finish in the top 20, if not maybe up towards 15. That pit strategy comes in like we talked about. And even last year, Stenhouse, he's starting 17th in this weekend, but he was one last year that started in the latter 20s and then ended up in the teens. So, who knows? Maybe you want to do a double Roush, play on your team.
Yeah. All right, man. You stole my value pick. I was going to go with her. She fits Poppa's paradigm, Liehr. Tell us who you got for value this week.
Well, obviously, Poppa's already hinted to it. So as far as Danica, she's definitely one of those that has been enjoying the success and fruits of her boyfriend's labor, Ricky Stenhouse. What would we call it? Danica?
It was Stanica.
Stanica?
Yeah.
So Stanica, has obviously been having this season with his 2 wins at Daytona. But she has some opportunities, for some top tens this year. But, for some reason, she always seems to find to be the root or the cause of the issue when it comes to wrecks, or just get caught up, randomly in stuff and just be in the wrong place at the wrong time. But this week, she should definitely supersede her. She superseded her Poppa's paradigm of a 24th starting position and is starting 30th. Obviously she qualified 31st, but with the Larson thing, she's moving up 1 spot. But she's raced here a total of 8 times. She's got an average start of 24.4 and an average finish of 25.1. This will be her second highest that she's ever started here at Loudon in 8 races, with 32nd being the highest that she started here back in 2013 at her first race. Her best finish came here last year in both races. In the first race, which is this race, she finished 14th, and the second one, she finished 18th. So her cost this week is $6,200. So she's sticking between Chris Buescher and Michael McDowell when it comes to salaries. But, with all the rumors swirling about her future with, Stuart Hodge Racing next season, look for her to go out and have a great place differential race this Sunday and definitely pay off her salary big time. But, as I just talked about a little bit earlier about the things that could go into next season, she's definitely one of the big question marks, along with Kurt Busch, because his contract's also up in the number 41, to see what happens with those two coming into next season. So she needs to have a good dominating finish. And I don't know when it comes down to the end of the season if it's going to be her results that get her a job, or if it's going to be her sponsorships, or just because she's the only female driver in the series and what she brings from a marketing perspective, or if she just steps away and says, hey, I've tried it, I've had my fun. So basically with her cost of being $6,200 this week, I mean, she's definitely a plug and play driver, especially starting at the 30th position. I think she's going to be really, really high owned. But, when she pays off between where she's starting at and with her salary, I mean, I think it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, the only reason that you wouldn't want to be playing her is that she seems to find the wrecks more than most people, and that is always problematic, especially on a track where I'm feeling that we're going to have a lot of wrecks and a lot of carnage this week. As I mentioned earlier, that grip agent, they've laid it down on the inside of the track and on the outside, not in where the normal lane is. So it's like tires will be falling off and like hitting that and going past. It's going to get messy. People are going to slip and slide, and there are going to be some wrecks. Which brings us to the Going to the Garage segment, kiddies. This is our chance to talk some trash on a driver. Maybe we don't like where they're qualified, which is the case this week for all the people we're going to mention. Maybe we want to talk smack on them. I don't think we're talking smack on any of these guys this week. Or maybe we want to talk smack on DraftKings, and I've kind of had my fill of talking smack on DraftKings. So I'm going to go ahead and start us off this week by sending Matty DB to the garage. Look, guys, the price was so right at $5K. I wanted to gobble up all the Matty DB I could, and then he went and qualified 16th, which is a great starting spot for him and his sponsors, but awful for us DFS NASCAR players. Easy fade, in my opinion. Also, feel free to fade one of my other long shot drivers, Michael McDowell, starting 20th. That's also just a little bit too much up there. Guys, like I said, though, even with the new grip agent laid down, I've got this gut feeling it's going to be carnage. I just want to preface our Going to the Garage picks. The only way these cars really should finish higher than where we have them finishing backwards, right, is if the carnage gets crazy and they somehow make it through. I feel like we have to give that preface of that argument. Liehr, who are you sending to the garage this week, buddy?
Well, and the other thing, too, that we got to be cognizant about is the track size here. So you're going to have cars that go multiple laps down due to the amount of laps in this race and then how short the track is. So I don't know. I mean, do you play just real quick, Matty DB, love you, brother. You're a funny man. I hope you went and took my advice and went up to Lake Winnipesaukee up there, just north of your hotel from your room that you tweeted about because you were so bored. Yeah, nice job on qualifying, brother. But unfortunately, I can't play you this weekend when it comes to Fantasy NASCAR, Daily Fantasy NASCAR. But what about David Reagan, brother? Guy's got the overall team, overall race sponsor on his team car this week.
Right.
And starting 32nd between Corey LaJoie and Cole Litt. So David Reagan's an interesting play to me as well. No, I definitely will not be playing any Matty DB. But as far as my going to the garage pick, I'm going to be going with somebody of a little bit of a bigger name. I'm going to be rolling with J-Mac, number one. He's living off his success this season that his number 42 brethren has had. But we all know what's been going on lately over there. Basically, J-Mac, he overqualified this weekend because he's, not one of his best tracks here at Loudon. He's got 28 career starts here. He's got 4 top 5s out of 28, 7 top 10s out of 28. He started, again, like we said, 4th this weekend. And there's just no way he's going to be sticking up towards the front in this race. And his cost this week is $8,600. And there's just better plays out there for us fantasy players to make than J-Mac in the number one, starting in the 4th position. Because I'm sorry, but he's not going to go up there. He's not going to go and lead laps at this track. Just not going to happen. He's just an average driver when it comes to these types of tracks, and the only direction he's going to go is backwards while his other teammate is going to be moving forward from the rear. So if he had a better starting position, maybe from the teens, I'd be more excited about him as more of kind of a GPP play. But some people still may play him as a GPP just because he may have a real low ownership percentage, but not for me.
Yeah, that low ownership percentage is going to be for a reason, though. As you said, he qualified 4th. His best finish ever here is 3rd, and that was 7 years ago. He just goes backwards a lot here. Now, if for some reason someone out there has him dominating, which is really weird because that's not really the style of racer he is, I could see it. Play him at 86, I guess. But unless he does that, he most likely won't be on a winning lineup because there are going to be place differential cars that are going to easily outpoint him when you subtract the spots he's going to lose. Like, even if he hangs in the top 10, I just think it's an easy fade. I don't think most likely won't be on a winning lineup. I'm out.
And just at that price point, you think about it, okay, you got Larson, high dollar guy. You got, whether you pick Truex, Rowdy, or Kenseth, or anybody else, Jimmy Johnson, starting from that position, you've already got 3 guys right there that you're going to be spending a bunch of money on. And then you got J-Mac at $8,600. There's not enough salary there to put him in.
I agree. Not to mention the overqualification. It's messy either way.
Yep.
All right, kids, remember this is a segment of the show where we put together a lineup. The purpose of this lineup is not to copy it, but to show you the proper thought processes of going through and constructing a lineup. Liehr, where do we want to start this week? Are we going to start with the 78 and his Wix filters ride, which, by the way, is kind of trippy. It's black and yellow. It's different than what we're normally seeing Truex in.
Was that your New England accent you had going there with the with what you were saying earlier?
Some clam chowder. Park a car in Harvard Yards.
Harvard Yards. Come up to New Hampshire and we'll get you in a NASCAR car. Is there any doubt you start your lineups 42, 78?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow.
Black and yellow, black and yellow. All right. Oh, yeah. Wow, we showed our attempt at being young while being old there with the black and yellow. Well done. All right, guys. So we start off with Truex and Larson. That's going to leave you $7,500 per driver. Where do we want to go next, Liehr?
Well, I'm going to continue. If this is my personal lineup, I'm going to continue with the black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow, and roll with Matt Kenseth.
All right, dude. You know what? Let's do it just for the viewers out there, because in all honesty, I don't have a reason right now, pre-practice 2 and 3, to decide anyone really over like after Truex and Larson, right? Like I don't know if I'm going to want to play Bushmore or Harvick or Kenseth or Jimmy. Like one of those guys is also going to be a dominator, and we're probably going to have them on the lineup. I would recommend going at least 2 dominators this week. So we've got Larson, Kenseth, Truex Jr., and we're at 6,900 per driver.
Do it. I know. Just do it.
What are you wanting me to do? That's the question.
Come on.
What do you
I know
want?
We're thinking on the same wavelength here. Come on. I know you can pick it.
I'm actually. You want me to pick Blaney, don't you? At 8,300, starting 15th.
No, not yet. But I do like that play. I'd much rather reach down for salary relief, right? Wouldn't you?
I mean, yeah, that's the easiest thing to do to show where you can go from here.
Right, exactly. Yeah. To display more of your options. So
yeah, and like I said, I don't disagree with his Danica play. So let's go ahead and throw her in there at 62.
That's my guy.
That raises. Well, I mean, come on, dude. That was obvious. I thought you wanted something. I thought you were instinctually trying to get me to pick like another crazy place differential or dominator guy that was gonna wow and win this lineup instead of going more cashy with the Danica play. Yeah. All right, so we're at 7,200. I can just tell you what this lineup's going to do. You're going to punt one more time and then get another driver of value. Is that what you're going to do?
You know me too well.
So punt and then let me pick the driver of value.
I already kind of talked about it a little bit, but I probably put David Reagan.
Yeah, I like the David Reagan play this week.
And plus, that leaves you $9,000 left on your salary to
right. So you can put anyone,
dispose of anybody that you like from Joey Logano on down. Right. So I mean, you're only eliminating 6 drivers.
Right. And here's the thing: the plays that I'm interested in here, 4-place differential, are Joey Bag of Donuts and Blaney. In my opinion, are you looking at anybody else in this range?
I like both of those plays. I think Clint Boyer is another one.
Sorry, I forgot to mention Boyer.
In the 19th position. And then, basically from there, I mean, you also have, Dale Earnhardt starting in the 18th position. I know he wasn't really happy with his car after qualifying, but he said, hey, me and the guys, we're going to go to work. But then, you look from there on down and, hell, you could even go – Ryan Newman and leave $1,700 on the
right
on the board, and in a GPP that's gonna separate you there.
Well, and I believe last year the optimal lineup only left 700 on the board, but salaries are different, the race is different. I was just throwing that out there for historical purposes. No, where I'm leaning, though, is like you said, Logano, Boyer, Blaney. Like, those are the cars I'm leaning at right now, unless I'm doing something crazy for a large-size GPP field where I'm wanting to try to get different. I'm going to instinctually go, I think, with Joey Bag of Donuts here. They've been on a little bit of a schneid.
Yeah, he just announced his baby is going to be a boy. So congratulations to him and his wife.
I'm honestly torn because I like this lineup with all 3 variations, but I'm gonna probably plug in Logano and leave you to plug in the other versions of it.
Yeah, that sounds good, man. And and obviously too, it gives you a little bit of place differential, but it gives you a guy that also has a win technically when it comes to points, doesn't have a win. So that team is also hungry, and they haven't been up to snuff lately, pretty much since they got that win. So they are looking to get back on the horse and get back into the winner's circle and get into the playoffs. So look for them to be hungry as well and do some bold strategies because we're getting down to crunch time when it comes to the NASCAR season. I mean, we're already in mid part of July, and it's going to be starting here in not too long. So.
Now, remember, kids, you can compete against that lineup in the Mega Beast, $50K to first. It's an $8 entry fee on DraftKings to get into. It's probably a little that lineup's probably a little too chalky for that field size.
Yeah.
But whatever. we try to put together we're trying to show our process and put it together with guys that we both like. So that's the end result there. And you know what, I like the lineup. With that being said, guys, as we wrap up another week of the Rubbin' Is Racing Daily Fantasy NASCAR Show, thanks again for tuning in. I want to thank our special guest host, Jackson, giving us a pick. Maybe Harvick will come through. For all of you that decide to put your trust in the Oracle this week. If not, that was one of the best burning rubbers ever. Liehr, say your goodbyes and get us out of here, man.
You want to just tell them the quick story about it last year?
I think if they were watching last year, they do know. I believe we mentioned it, but the Oracle gave us words and or numbers to put together a lineup last year, and I just did it on a whim. And had we put that in the actual qualifier, he would have taken down a seat to the live final, and it did win me money. And the funny story is the Oracle almost won us almost won me like 20 grand last year. It was a crazy day, and a live final seat. It was crazy till the last lap of the race. Yeah, but if we'd entered his lineup,
3-year-old and what they know, right?
And if we'd entered his lineup in the smaller field GPP, it would have taken it down. But I only entered it in the giant GPP the giant qualifier last year. So,
yeah. No, awesome show, brother. Appreciate it every week. Your dedication to the show, to our viewers, to everybody involved with this. We don't give you enough props, brother, and I just want to take a moment and say thank you, because it is hard work to be also the editor and producer and getting out there for the people every week. So definitely appreciate it, brother, and you're always consistent. You're there every single week, so thank you very much. But glad to be back. I love doing this. Missed last week, but just had on vacation and. Had to miss out, unfortunately, because where I was at up in my mom's place up in Iowa, they just don't have the capability to get it done there. So, but I was actually on the road on Friday night on the way back. But appreciate you guys watching the show, and definitely good luck this weekend to all you guys playing. Should be a fun race to watch. Always good time there up in Loudon, and best of luck to everybody. And we'll see how it plays out, but. Hope everybody has a great weekend, and hopefully we'll get a win on Sunday, brother.
Hopefully, man. We need to take down a seat or something, man. You got me all verklempt.
But make sure you guys like, comment, share. We've kind of been when it comes to the show, we've kind of capped out at a certain number, but we still obviously want to grow the show and grow the popularity, and not only is it just for us to get the stuff out there, but we love the community. We love interacting with everybody on the page, on the YouTube page, and so make some comments. We'll definitely comment back, and it's all about the fun here at the Rubbin' Is Racing show and for Fantasy NASCAR. So, but obviously we would like to have success too. You bet your ass we would. So.
Oh, if only success came as much fun as equal rates as the fun that we have on the show.
Right, exactly.
We would be fantasy millionaires already. No. Thanks again for tuning in, guys. Remember to like, share, subscribe. You guys are the reasons why we do this show, that and our love of fantasy and of NASCAR. So thanks again, and remember to share with your friends, and let's try to grow the show a little bit. And let's win some money, guys. Come on. Later. Have a good one.
Yeah, if you guys definitely win money, let us know. Have a great weekend.